Hello, Maarten, and welcome to Speaking of Everything with me. After more than 2 3 years or 2 years, what have you, always a regular here. Now we got him back. The man himself, MP Christopher Emmanuel, he's a former member of Parliament. You've been in politics for how long now?
A very long time, from 2014.
Wow. And you're the founder and leader of the NOW Party?
Yes.
NOW
yes,
stands
yes.
for?
Nation, Opportunity, Wealth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how, and you have a member of your party in
Of
Parliament?
course,
Yeah.
the former Minister of Justice and now the Honorable Member of Parliament, Lyndon Lewis,
No, it's
is
amazing.
holding the helm, yeah.
A lot
yeah.
of people was so excited about him, and then after he had to give up that.
Yeah, I think he did a phenomenal job as a minister. I think it's his fit, if I should put it there. You know, if you go to one of those stores where you want to buy a suit, and here comes a tailor and he just throw it on you and it just fit.
Right.
I think that's where the member of parliament belongs, because he's in his element as a minister of justice. He did an exceptionally good job, and the people of St. Maarten rewarded him for that. You know, I think we may have a few differences now when it comes to him being a member of parliament. I'm not too sure whether he know if he's part of opposition or the government, but yet I think he's still doing a very good job.
Could be the strategy he's using.
Could be a strategy on his part too as well. Could be. We'll have to see how it work out though. Yeah.
So how things going with you so far?
Well, I'm good. Things are good. I'm going through some different trials and tribulations, because one of the things that you missed as a member of parliament, because you get so consumed into that role as being an MP, is that the personal aspect of your life, your children, your home, your health, your work, your everything that deals, you sort of neglect and put on a back burner. And what this time have done for me is give me a sense of reflection and things that personally you have to work on, and going to your doctor and then your doctor diagnosing you and saying, look, listen, you have this ailment, you have that ailment, you have to watch this, you have to watch that, becomes sort of an eye-opener for you that you have neglected that part of your life for such a long time. So now what it does, it puts you back into perspective, that for you to, and I remember the nurse at the hospital telling me, she said it makes no sense you trying to do well and take care of us if you can't take care of yourself, and you're not taking care of yourself.
You gotta take care of yourself first.
You got to take care of yourself
It's like
first.
you're on a plane. On a plane, you gotta take care of yourself first.
You have to take care of yourself first, and I had to learn it the hard way with my asthma and my pressure and all those sort of things that I'm working on right now.
But you still do those walks over the hill?
Yes,
and all that, yeah?
yes. Every Sunday I try my best to keep up with it. It have become sort of part of your life. Now we have done so many different areas that we find ourselves repeating them over, and now we are trying to find new locations. But I'm still doing that. Yeah.
And you get to see St. Maarten from a different angle.
I tell people, if you want to love your land, you have to walk your land.
Yeah.
You have to, and that's the only way I can put it. And I would take you some places, and you'll be like, "Nah, this is St. Maarten." Yes, it is.
Yeah.
As small as we are, you'll see the vast amount of property and land, and it's just simply breathtaking and beautiful, and people have to do it.
You know, when I was a little boy, we used to do it on Saturdays. And in those days, the island was not growing up like now. Today, now, you have to be careful where you go, because there's private property and posting there. And all
we
that.
go through a lot of that.
Yeah.
We go through a lot of the private property and the signs. But then the landowners recognize who we are and stuff, and they be like, okay, all right, you know. And it is just some. I remember the first time I went to this area in French cul-de-sac called Red Rock. It's way up in the hill, and from that hill you can see straight down to the airport. But the rock is literally really red. It's a huge rock, huge. You can't imagine, but it's a huge rock. And what is nice with it is that all the individuals who have been here sort of carved their name in the rock and said, and you would see like Chris was here, or Oral was here, and you sort of, you know, like when you're doing your exam and you pass, you accomplish it.
Yeah.
It is something like that. I make it to Mount Everest. Well, going to Red Rock is something like that. I've made it to Red Rock, and it's just a beautiful thing to know that your island is so pretty and nice.
So Does Fernando go with you on these?
Nowhere. Fernando don't go nowhere, man. Every Tuesday night, Fernando asked me if I went hiking. Fernando never ever came. Don't worry, Fernando. Don't worry for that, Don't worry for that at all.
He really gave you hell on Tuesday night.
That's all. Fernando can go. Fernando can walk from here to there, and that's it. Don't worry for that. Fernando go nowhere.
So, how long you been doing the Tuesday night show with Fernando?
Ooh, we are going almost now. Well, Fernando have been there a while before I am, of course, because remember the show used to be also on the PJ2 program, and then it went over there. So almost 16.
SOS.
No, it's on SOS. Yeah, almost 16 years.
Wow, time go fast. Huh?
Time go very, very fast.
I saw some of the people the other day with a guy writing and making some suggestion to you and Fernando. A guy, I can't remember. He writes very short articles.
Mm-hmm. Colbert.
Who's that guy?
Colbert, don't worry. Don't worry himself. I ain't even bad. What time you said that?
You know who it is?
I know who it is. I know the individual too. Too. As well.
Maybe I know him by seeing him, but I thought it was so cute.
I worry with that. But I know who it is. I know the individual. Yeah. He always doing little stuff like that. And when he see me, it's always something to say, and you just have to listen.
I those things that come with the territory when you're doing those kind of shows.
But you know, some people would write, and some people would actually come and look for you and send you messages and all those sort of things. And you just have to take it in stride because you put yourself to the society to be that person to speak. And, many people are holding back so many things and don't have that voice where they can go to an individual and have that individual to speak on their behalf. And you just have to deal with it.
As an MP, you was unique. You was accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them you can't get to them at all. They're in a different world.
Indeed.
I mean, I don't want to offend no one here, but that...
It's not a matter of offending, it's what the facts and the truth is. But I've always made myself available to people because, again, I remember one of the programs you had here with the lawyer, Denise Bryson, after the elections. And he said one of the biggest losers coming out was Christopher Emmanuel. And I had to shake my head. And I said, one of the biggest winners coming out of the elections, even though I didn't get my seat, is Christopher Emmanuel, because the people of St. Maarten have blessed Christopher Emmanuel from since 2014 until as a member of parliament. What more can you ask for? Have also blessed Christopher Emmanuel as being a minister. The biggest losers is the people of St. Maarten who have lost that voice and that champion voice that is always there for them and speaking for them on their behalf. And I always tell them, regardless to how I sound, you may not like how it comes out, but if it's one thing Chris have always done is always tell you the truth. And that voice is not there no more. And we see so many things happening right now and going unanswered, and you have no one to speak and say why, when, how, and where.
So people feel hopeless now.
Huh? I think they have reached to a point of now where people are just have given up because they put themselves in a position where they accept a new government and we're going to see things different and things change, but it's far from that. There's nothing is coming.
When it comes to the ministries and what's happening, how do you see things now in government?
I told someone the other day that I've never seen it. I thought, and I had some good conversations, Unde and myself, William Allenson, we speak pretty often and on so many different things and different topics. And I also have a very good relationship also likewise with Daryl York and other individuals from the National Alliance. And they'll always be like, it's best you come back home, because, that's, and I told them, I said, I've coined the term saying that that's the worst government that we have seen in a long time. But this one here is a bad one. And this one is a bad one because this is one that is against the people of St. Maarten in terms of gaining and getting anything from St. Maarten. And I don't see the only ministry, and I'm going to say it candid as it is and honest as it is, the only ministry I see that is really trying their best to make a difference right now in this government is the Ministry of Finance. The Honorable Minister of Finance, Miss Marinka Gums. She's really trying when she talk about the dividend days and she talk about, the old age pension and revamping the tax office and coming with and what it is, Oral, is the voice of so many different things that you can hear from the Minister of Finance in comparison to all the other ministers. You don't really hear nothing that much. I took a liking to also the Minister of Romy when I saw that a lot of the roads was being repaired was being repaired in terms of not patching, but really repairing roads. And then comes into LB Scott Road and going into, I see a bunch of little patching here and there, and I was like, oh my goodness, Minister, why would you do it so? Because again, my philosophy is that patches doesn't work. It always would get eroded again. You have to take out that whole chunk and pave hard surface, that whole chunk. Right? And I challenge that in terms of being more costly for government. It may be more costly at the moment, but in the long run, it saves government. But the patching and the patching and the patching now may be cheaper now, but going to cost government, yes, much more as we go on in the long run. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just had a guess and said that they left the island 17 years ago, came back, found the same pothole.
Same thing. Same thing.
Maybe it's good in a way because the potholes stop us from going too fast.
Is it really? But then you damage your vehicle and you cause so many different accidents, and the infrastructure at this point, or can be something that we have been fighting and talking about from 10 years and 15 years ago, and here we are at present and we are still having that same discussion.
How you see the development of the island with all this construction that's taking place?
I'm not seeing, you have to put it in perspective. Development in what terms? What do you mean by development? Private development, government development, institutional development? What type of let me put this task to you, and I'll put it also to the people of St. Maarten, and it is something I want them to really think about. So here we are after Hurricane Irma, 2016, 2017, and $500 million guilders, whichever one was made available. I challenge you, Oral, and I challenge anyone to show me something that is tangible, where the people of St. Maarten can say, yes, this is what we gain. This is what we got. This here from 5. Look at your country and let us, and I don't mean it in no way, no dispersions, nothing whatsoever in terms of pointing my finger at anyone and saying that this one is responsible. Let us be honest and let us be truthful. Not because you work at the institution or you know about it or you have been part of the government, but let us take all of that away, peel back all the skin from the onion, and honestly say, have we gained and moved forward in any fashion, any way whatsoever, with these funds being made available through the World Bank, through NRPB, through the steering committee, through BZCAR, through all those entities and layers that is put in front of the government of St. Maarten before a decision can be made? What have we gained? For me, honestly, absolutely nothing. It's a colossal failure, and the people of St. Maarten is still back at stage 1. And as usual, we have to build ourselves back and claw ourselves out of the situation that we are in, because we have always been the one who have been doing it.
So what would you have liked seeing from that money?
The thing about it, I wouldn't have liked the money to be here, period. I was against taking and accepting the money, and I'm still against it up to this present day. I'm still against all the monies and loans that we are taking up to this present day and the conditions from day one. I was part of that government.
Any other politician who can say what you just said?
I don't know about any other politician. It's not my concern about what any other politician think. I know what Christopher is saying, and my things that I'm saying is proven today, and I've said it. APS, and I've said it on this program too as well one time, belongs to the people of St. Maarten. 100% belongs to the people of St. Maarten. And at that time, during that time, we had $700 million sitting at APS. If we are borrowing loans and monies from the Dutch government and paying them 5% and 2% and 3%, we could have done the same thing to APS with less conditions. And if we do have to take conditions, we are taking conditions from our own. We are taking conditions from something that we are responsible for. So we wouldn't have been in a situation where we're in, raising the old age pension, cutting this, doing that, having this to go, going along with all these sort of different things that are just impediments to the growth of the people of St. Maarten and moving forward. We have senior citizens that are crying every day. Oral, you tell me where in the history of St. Maarten our young people don't have a library from since 2017. We have students walking around with school uniform with a name on it and never step one day in the school because the building can't be repaired. Up to this present day, we may see these things as isolated and just, oh, that's just, no. There is something behind it. And what is behind it? That is what happens when people from St. Maarten on the top level is not involved to make a decision without having somebody say, no, you can't do that. And those are the conditions that came with the World Bank, with this money, and they have made us into nobodies.
But I've had people from the steering committee on this show, and what you said just now, they said, no, it's the government who will tell them what projects are priority for the government. And then the steering committee will take that up, and then after that, NRPB. It's not like NRPB. I'm just saying what
you really think any government, it could be government that I'm not even part of, that I am against. You really think that the former government led by the National Alliance with the Minister Honorable Rudolph Samuel don't want to build back a school right next to him?
But of course.
The school is right next to his establishment.
But you know that school.
Okay.
That school was damaged during Irma. I had the Minister of Education before him, which is Smith.
Okay, yeah.
And you know what he said to me? He said to me on this show that the World Bank told him that school was not a priority. I asked him if he crazy.
So then how could it be the people from the government
but
then?
I'm saying,
then it's not the people. And this is what I'm saying. Here we got again NRPB making a decision.
But they're claiming that the steering committee gets it from the government before that.
But this is my point. This is a point that I make. Come on, man. This is the point that I'm making. Why must NRPB have something to say? Why must the steering committee have something to say? Yeah. Why must a World Bank have something to say? Why must a BZK have something to say? Why? The people of St. Maarten voted for none of those institutions. None of those individuals from
the minister got to have some balls too.
Okay? They voted for the government of St. Maarten. It's like Dr. Luke Mercelina saying, look, listen, we need a children's hospital. Now here you have a renowned doctor. Here you have a doctor that is the prime minister of this country saying to the people of St. Maarten, we need a children's hospital that can take care of certain things that don't necessarily have to go in the St. Maarten Medical Center. And me as prime minister of this country and a specialized doctor, and then all of a sudden NRPB and World Bank and Steering Committee say, no, that's not a priority.
But and I blame the government though for that.
But how could you blame the government when the money is coming from somewhere else?
It's simple. I'll tell you. You see, the problem is with many of our people in government too, we're weak. Because you got to put your foot down.
That's it.
And you know it too.
That's it.
You know it.
I agree.
And they pass the buck.
I agree.
And that's a problem we have.
But and that have been our mistake from the inception. Accepting this money, accepting the rule of the basic car, accepting the rule of, I try to figure out what's the necessity and the need for a steering committee. What are you steering? What exactly are you steering? All it is to have highfalutin individuals on a board, on a panel to make decisions, getting pay, and nothing is being done. What is there for you to stare in St. Maarten when we have a government?
Look, I don't know if you watch all my shows from the beginning. I was against that money just like you. Yeah. Okay? And
I wanted to say it now, but you're not a politician, so I didn't say it.
I was against it too. Right. But I felt bad because everybody was ridiculing me about it. And I know you was always against it too.
Let me ask you a question. You think Claude would have accepted that money?
Never.
You think Van James would have accepted that money?
I don't know.
And William wasn't accepting that money either. So here we have the senior politicians that we know, that we grew up with, have been part of it. I doubt across the board they would have been accepting that money. Because they have never accepted.
And I think that money changed St. Maarten to the worst.
For the worse.
I've
Thank
never
you.
said that before. That's for
Thank
the
you.
first time I'm saying that.
And that's why we're in the situation that we're in today.
Yeah.
St. Maarten people got to pay from everything that they don't have for Ania. For Ania. Okay?
Yeah.
St. Maarten people have to pay for everything that they don't have for GB. St. Maarten have to pay for everything that they don't have for food. St. Maarten has become a place expensive for its people to live.
Its own people that want to
its
pay the
own
price.
people.
Yeah.
It has become expensive for them to live.
Well,
And the question is, what's going to be done about it?
I got to go to
Sure.
a break in case it just joined us. I'm here speaking with MP Emmanuel. He's a former member of parliament, leader of the Now Party. They have one seat in parliament. When we come back, we'll continue to speak with us with him right here. And speaking about everything, please stay with us.
We are vibrant, expressive, warm, and diverse. Together, we conquer, and now we expand into new horizons, giving you more of the best. Introducing our new Bankomatico Plus with wider acceptance, purchase protection, and enhanced security. Whether you're online, traveling, or in paradise, experience more with Windward Island Bank. Bankomatico Plus. More of the best.
My guest here on Speaking About Everything is former member of parliament, leader of the Now Party, MP Emmanuel. We're here speaking with him, and during the break, I was telling him about that same 540 million US dollars that the Dutch government sent to St. Maarten and really entrapped us in a way. Mm-hmm. So now we're really dependent for the rest of our lives, for the next 100 years. Yeah. But the thing is, we was talking about something during the break too, and I want you to touch on the interest rate, and so then
Again, like I said, Earl, we have something that is poisoning to us. We don't like our own, and people that say, "Oh, but Christopher, you're not a person to bring across that message." Yes, I am the right person to bring across that message, because I would want our own to be in that position. But if they are bad for that position, you have to say they are bad for that position. Now, if we are going to pay 3% and 2% and back to the Dutch government, why couldn't we pay APS 4%? Yeah. We could have paid APS 4% our own, in our own coffers, making our own wealthy, rich.
Money stays and circulate here.
It stays and it circulates here to build our nation, to help our people. APS is the one that's supposed to be owning most of the things on this island that government need. They would have owned the school, they would have owned the hospital, they would have owned all these sort of things where we are taking this money from the World Bank.
But some people are saying, well, that would be a little bit too risky.
What is risky about it?
I'm just saying what the financial people were saying, that is a little bit too risky, seeing that the pension fund is going to be dependency only on St. Maarten, and they had some portfolios where it had to be 50 days or 25.
But our country is building back.
Yeah.
Our country would have already been built back. Why? We wouldn't have had the conditions that is holding us back right now. Yeah. More tourists would have been coming. I would go as far.
The other side of the coin.
There's always some other side that people would say, and you have to take it in stride to and listen to what it is. But if you don't take risk in life, you're not going to grow and know where you could have been. What's going to happen? You're going to be, boy, if only, and if only, and if only. As the leader of the Now Party, we have set out in our manifesto some cardinal things. And I still think it's pertinent to this country. Again, I believe we should have dollarized our economy and stay away from this so-called Caribbean guilder. I believe we should have gone into pre-clearance. One time.
Everything you're saying is what I believe in. That's strange.
Okay, strange. One time, I believe we should have gone into alternative energy for waste to energy. We wouldn't have been having a garbage and a dump problem in this country. We would have been making a tremendous amount of money. We would have been putting people to work. We would have been getting much more taxes, much more people coming, and our country and our island would have been booming. Police officers wouldn't have been crying and screaming for their monies to be in rightful scales and all those sort of things. It is something what you call call oral new money, that you don't have to solely depend only on taxes from its people. And those things we are not seeing happening.
But now we're going to have to tax more just to
More?
make ends meet.
Yeah, we're going to have to. Yeah. Because there is nothing new. There is no new money coming. You see? But when you as a country, and geographically, you have to look at the position of your country and say, but wait a minute. I have a waste to energy plant. I'm going to need a certain level of caloric value of garbage to burn. Let me go and have a discussion with Sint. Listen, what it is you spend every year disposing of your garbage, we can do a better job. Put it on a badge, we're going to take it. Make an agreement with the Dutch government. Saba and Stacia, we're going to take it. Anguilla, Nevis, St. Bart's, we are going to take it. Friendside, you pay us. You are paying us. What you're going to have is our haulers moving back and forth, oral, back and forth. Different islands paying us, adding to the coffers of our country. Because all of a sudden now, that 150 million that Sint is spending, we are taking it for 90 million. We are the ones making the money from it. Different revenue source of money. Pre-clearance, all the Americans, flights that is coming to this country, everybody coming from St. Kitts, Nevis, Anguilla, Saba, Stacia, all them coming from Dominica, St. Lucia, Guadeloupe, Martinique. They are now directly coming to St. Maarten. They're coming to St. Maarten directly. And they are cleared right through the United States. And given the geopolitical that is going on right now in the world, it is an opportune time for St. Maarten to go back.
Do you think we'll get that again?
With the State Department and look and fight for it. Of course it can. Of course we can. But if we don't make the effort and push ourselves forward, it's not going to happen. America have left this part of the world, and now she's trying to gain it back. I think we should engage the State Department. Engage with them on the level of the Prime Minister and say, listen, these are the things we want for our country. Engage APS. They're going to own the building. They're going to make the monies from the building. Why is it still in Aruba and Aruba's making 200 and something million from it? It is still there in Aruba, doing well. I'm not hearing the Arubian government and the people complaining about the pre-clearance in Aruba. Yeah, none.
It's terrible. But when you look at energy and GBE, there's a new person there right now.
Yeah.
Kind of surprising because when I see what's going on, it seems like the people of St. Maarten just don't get no respect. And that's a government-owned company. And I don't understand how a lot of people are so critical of this man that's there. Well, they forgot that he have a boss. And the supervisory board should be doing their job.
You know? So the gentleman, Mr. Rackenoff, that is there right now, you know, or never in the history of St. Maarten, from the days of Lambert, my father was a diesel engineer working at GEBE, and I grew up in the Lambert era, and everyone that I know that hold the helm at GEBE have always been St. Maarteners. I've never known it to be Dutch people or anyone like that at the helm. And what we are seeing right now is a new individual who is there that doesn't give no interview to St. Maarten, doesn't give no sort of press release, nothing whatsoever to St. Maarten, but give a press release to Good News America. And we don't know what was said. We can't get a hold of it. And he have said it plain, he will not be giving any interviews until a certain period of time, and the fingers is pointed at him. And I turned and I told him, I said, he has a boss. And that boss is the board. That boss is the board. But if we as the people of St. Maarten don't demand more from this government to go at the board and say, listen, we want answers, nothing is going to be done. When I was there, I was very, very critical of the board. That board should have been sent home a very, very long time ago. But we see we have the same thing that is happening right now, and it's even worse, where St. Martiners are being slid to the side. And I call it now the United Nations of everything that St. Maarten is, because all our government-owned companies, for the exception of the harbor right now, is run and operated by foreign nationals.
When you look at the way government operate, right? Mm-hmm. You've been there, you serve as a minister, you serve a member of parliament. What do you see as the shortcomings, the things that need to be done that we're not doing?
There's too many division. There's too many division amongst the political and coalition governments doesn't work. And it's going to take a level of maturity on behalf of the people of St. Maarten one day to decide and say, listen, this we have been going through this now for the past number of years, and we'll have to isolate and give a political party, or probably two, to run this country and get things done. A
coalition of four, and every member in that coalition, their families.
They are families, yes, but everyone isolate themselves and operate like a silo on their own, and who ain't trampling on this one and this one trampling on that one, and who ain't going over on this one portfolio and speaking on this one. That's what you're getting. But we are going to get it correct. When, I don't know. Probably it may be too late. We're not even hurting enough. But at some point in time, there are certain things that need to be targeted, need to be looked at in this country. And the people are going to have to make a decision, because government going to have to take it up. Rent is too high. Food is too high. Your basic necessities in terms of electricity and utilities is too high. Living on St. Maarten has become too expensive, too bureaucratic, and it simply pushes the average St. Maartener out of everything and anything in its country. Government simply is too divided amongst themselves when it comes to the members of parliament and also the ministry and the ministers. And then you go down to the department heads, the SGs, the civil servants. It's too much division in the whole apparatus of government.
But you're going to be still running?
Almost definitely. I have a whole party that I've built from scratch. I can't just trade on the sideline and leave it as it is. And you just have to wait the time, continue speaking, continue being there, and put yourself out again for the people of St. Maarten.
As I said, the any guys, they miss you. They said if you was there, you would have been leader.
All right. You've been talking to someone. You've been talking to someone. Like I said, I speak very well with a few of the individuals. I still speak very, very extremely well with William Maarten. He lives right up my side, and we would have good conversations whenever we both each other. I speak very well with Unde Maarten. I speak very well with Daryl York. Now and again, if I see the member of parliament, the former minister of finance, he drop in on the studio by us, Artwell Aaron, we'll have a conversation about that too as well. I've had individuals say, Chris, you're the one to unite the party and bring it back together and everything. I said, guys, I have a whole new party on my own. And then, in putting the numbers together, one said, but look, with these votes that they got and those votes that you got, we would have been at 6 seats and 5 seats and all those sort of things. But that is the past. And what I'm looking at is the future and where we're going to take this country. And we have to take this country to a place where people can breathe a sigh of relief and right the wrong and make it right. And that's going to take making cardinal and harsh decisions. Or we need to secede from the central bank, that's one, and have our own.
That's long overdue.
We need to dollarize our economy. We need to get into pre-clearance. We need to do waste to energy. And we need to look into our natural resources that we have there at the Sabre Bank, and St. Maarten will be fine.
But most of the things you say there go against some of the people in the
It goes against the establishment and the unseen hand, and they don't like what it is. But again, at some point in time, the conscientious individuals in St. Maarten are going to say, Chris is right. And we need a serious paradigm shift in our society, because we can't have the most vulnerable that we are the ones supposed to be taken care of are the ones suffering right now.
I know you had some legal issues. How is that?
Yeah, the paper came up and say I've been indicted. I smile at it all the time when I look at it and stuff like that. But with my legal team and the law firm, I think they're doing an exceptionally good job. Unfortunately, the case hasn't called as yet, and we are still going through all the witnesses and all the statements and everything that we are looking at. We had one hearing and it was put off, and then we had another hearing and we are still waiting to see when the official case is going to be called, as far as it is, and that's where it is right now.
I guess it should be very stressful on you and your family.
You know, the thing about it is that I ask myself the question all the time: why am I here, and how did I get here? And when I listen and I see what is going on, I try to remain very, very quiet and stay focused on what is important. Because if you take it on as it is, and once you know you have done nothing wrong, then you stick to that and don't allow yourself to be derailed by individuals who wants to make a career off of your back. It's not going to happen, and I'm not going to accept it.
All right, so we have about a minute. Anything you want to say to your supporters?
No, well, Chris is, I always tell people, when I'm in, I'm out, they always hear Chris. I'm on every Tuesday, I'm still writing articles, I still come over on the news. Now and again, here I am on the program. Unlike many others, Chris is still here. And you don't have to like me, you don't have to agree with all that I'm saying. But I always tell people, then prove what I'm saying wrong and show me something else different. Or rather, I'm going to repeat it again. St. Maarten need to make cardinal changes. And those changes, again, one is we need to secede from the central bank and get our own. We need to dollarize our economy. We need to go into waste to energy. We need to look at pre-clearance, and we need to make the living standard in this country better for its people.
All right, so again, I wish you much success.
I thank you very much.
That's former Member of Parliament, Christopher Emmanuel, leader of the No Party. I'll see you next time right here on Speaking of Everything, YouTube, and on Hot 99.9 FM radio. Take care, bye.